All right, back with another tier rankings. Week 3, we're actually, I feel like, in the thick of things now. We have a decent sample size of 3 games. We kind of know who some of these teams are. Of course, there will be some teams that either have started off great and end up not turning out so good, or some teams that start off poorly and still end up okay. But for now, let's get into the rankings. You see the Ravens and Lions are already there because they play tonight, so no new information with them has changed. So if you want to understand why I put them in those tiers, you can check out last week's show. But yeah, let's just get things started with the Tennessee Titans, who this was a rough day. Listen, the Colts are seemingly a buzzsaw right now, so I don't want to completely, bash them too much. But for a team that I've been keeping in the Scrappy tier because I feel like they've been staying competitive, I think I'm probably going to drop you down a tier. Too bad. It wasn't crazy about, the Cam Ward in this game. Again, it's a learning process. They're trying to get better, but for now, not exactly what you want to have there. The Miami Dolphins, I put in the Scrappy tier. I think I'll keep them there. You do still have talent, and they showed that again last week, finally, that there is some good about this team. But again, it was that was the Thursday night game, and they stayed competitive. And it wasn't for a dumb mistake on the punt. Maybe they come away with a win, so you feel good about that, but also they still made the dumb mistake. This defense still can't really cover. I still just don't love this team. I'll at least keep them out of the out of this bad tier, though. The Jets, who I put in bad, I feel like I got to bump them up again to Scrappy, right? Really, these Scrappy and bad are just the bad teams, but how are the vibes right now? And the vibes are up for the Jets, even if they couldn't pull off that victory. They did play better. Tyrod Taylor had a very nice fourth quarter, even if it wasn't for that kind of miracle punt block touchdown. They still made that a game, right? There's still some issues. I think the defense has been very disappointing to start the year and all that, but hey, at least you were staying competitive. Also, I meant to mention this at the beginning of this video. Sorry, I know the camera quality isn't great. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what's going on. I think it's how I record it straight on my computer, but I'll try to work on that. So apologies. But yeah, I'm aware of it. It's on my radar. We'll just say that. The Cincinnati Bengals, wow. This was, what a mess. I put them in the mid-tier after the Joe Burrow injury. I did not expect this. As of right now, I'm just going to put them in bad. That was a disaster. The Jake Browning thing looked all right week 2, for him week 1. Did not look all right here in week 3. Granted, Vikings defense can do that to people. Brian Flores can do that to people, but man, what a mess. What a mess. We know their defense isn't very good. Now their offense is playing horrible. That was a rough performance. The Browns, I had been kind of pro Browns. I still put them in the bad tier, and they were one of 3 teams to be in the bad tier. So I guess it wasn't that pro Browns, but I feel like people were talking about them as that there's nothing here, and I kept kind of saying there's a good defense here. The defense, I think if it had just a competent offense, we'd be talking about them as maybe a playoff team. It's that good of a defense. The offense still can't generate any explosives, and I do think this was an off day for the Green Bay Packers, but I'll bump them up a tier to Scrappy. Not gonna go too crazy. I rarely bump up multiple tiers or down multiple tiers after one game. But yeah, you could bump up a tier for a performance like that. Who knows? Maybe they can continue to climb their way up the ladder. The Jaguars, I really wasn't too impressed with either them or the Texans in that game. I think I'll just put them both in the mid tier. We'll talk about first the Jaguars, who I like Liam Cohen. I think he's a very good X's and O's guy, and we continue to see that. Brian Thomas Jr. finally got going with a big play there. Good defensive performance. I do like Travis Hunter as a corner. I think he's good there, so trying to figure out how to use him. The Trevor Lawrence stuff, he can't make some of these mistakes. He just can't. So they got away with it this week. But yeah, the Texans, what a mess this has become offensively. Texans play good defense, but man, they do not play good offense at all. They really continue to struggle to block, and this was another situation where the Jaguars don't blitz a ton traditionally, but the Texans couldn't even just block one-on-one. So this was just a rough performance for what a disappointing season. Texans, when we did the preseason, I did community notes polls for every division, and I believe the Texans had the highest percentage to win their division out of any other team. Now, part of that was people didn't expect the Colts to be good, so people didn't expect the Jaguars to be that good, and then people didn't expect the Titans to be that good, obviously. So I think it was part of that, but still, wow, what a mess this has been so far for Houston. How about the Vikings being able to kind of do all right here? I put them in the mid tier last week, and they're 2-1. It's really hard to figure out what they are, and I think the Bengals had a really bad game. I don't know I don't know what the situation is. Maybe that's the Vikings being good. I'm going to keep the Vikings in the mid tier. They're definitely in the, maybe I need to make a tier that is the I don't know what you are just yet tier, because the Carson Wentz stuff, it worked week 1. Is it going to work long term? I just don't know. So for now, mid tier is where I will have them. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a weird team right now. Ravaged with injuries, offensive line. I mean, again, they played with, out of the 5 offensive linemen, their 3 best offensive linemen were injured. The other 2 had to play out of position to kind of try and make everything work. So, really weird situation. Tristan Wirfs should be back soon. Chris Godwin should be back soon, and maybe even as early as next week for both those guys. Now, Mike Evans got banged up, but Baker Mayfield's still playing incredible football. The defense played well. There was a special teams touchdown in there that makes the score look worse. Defense didn't play great in the fourth quarter, but did have a touchdown of their own in that game. I've been keeping them in dark horse, and I guess I'll keep them here for now. They won the game, but underwhelming win, but a win is a win too. 49ers, again, I'm going to keep them in solid for now. Like, I'm factoring in injuries, so I'm saying today, where are you? And Mac Jones got it done. They definitely had to struggle to, actually, I'm going to bump them up. They feel like a playoff team. They do feel like a playoff team. If Mac Jones, maybe we'll see. But I just feel like this defense is playing so good right now that I think even with Mac Jones, I'm like, yeah, this feels like this is playoff quality for them. And certainly once they get healthy, they should be. The Atlanta Falcons are next on the list. They were feels like playoffs. That can't happen. So I got to bump them at least down to mid at this point. I mean, they did beat the Vikings just 2 weeks ago, although was that the J.J. McCarthy Vikings? What's going on there? I'll keep them in mid. They did have 2 very good weeks and 1 absolute disaster of a week. Maybe they will find themselves down. Michael Penix just didn't play well. They were dropping passes, they were running the wrong routes, and then the turnovers on top of it. The defense giving up some points to, Bryce Young. It was bound to happen that the Panthers offense would finally wake up. But that offensive performance was just brutal. That was a mess. How about the Chicago Bears, though, on the flip side, who, Caleb Williams, hey, I put them in mid last week, and I feel like I got to bump them up a tier. To me, Ben Johnson looked like Ben Johnson again. Forget about Caleb Williams. Forget about the offense and stuff. It might take time to fully flesh out this whole roster to get it to look like what Ben Johnson wants it to look like, but this looked like a Ben Johnson offense. Yes, against a bad defense, but it shows what he can do if he has, a talent mismatch. And if you can try and get that over the course of the next couple years, things could be really good. And the defense played better in this game. So factor both of those 2 in. Yeah, sure. Solid team. That feels fair. On the flip side, the Dallas Cowboys, who were in the solid tier last week and ultimately, did not do great after that. Real quick, I'm going to bump the Vikings up to solid. I think solid feels more fair for them. They beat the Bears. I don't know. I just think that I don't know what the Vikings are. Solid just feels better. I have no real analysis more beyond that. The Cowboys, again, they're all offense, no defense, all gas, no breaks, and they didn't have enough gas in this game. They weren't able to do a ton offensively. Not nothing, but CeeDee Lamb getting hurt, I think, really stings. Apparently, it's not a too long-term injury, which should help. I've kept them in the mid-tier, and I had them in the mid-tier previously. No, I believe I had them in the solid tier last week. I'll bump them down to mid, though. It felt like they could maybe outscore their problems, but not sure if they can fully do that. This defense is bad. That was rough. How about the Colts, who I put in feels like playoffs? I'm going to bump them up. I think dark horse. I think this is a team now. This is 3 weeks of doing this. And again, we can sit here and say, well, look at who they've played. They've played some rough teams. They have. But as of right now, like, Daniel Jones is playing awesome. He's making awesome plays. They have so much talent around Daniel Jones. Like, every position is at the very least, like, solid. So because of that, like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see what they can do. But for now, this is where I have them. The Rams were talk about a bummer of a loss. I mean, let's be honest. They played the reigning champs and nearly had them. They looked like they were going to blow them out. They still, if it wasn't for a blocked field goal, would have won that game. Like, I've had them in the dark horse. They feel like a dark horse contender. I don't know if they're gonna win it all, but feels like they could win it all. Feels like they can beat anybody. So that's kind of what the dark horse category is for. The Chargers, who continue to look awesome. Their defense looks awesome. Justin Herbert looks awesome. I'm kind of trying to find reasons why I shouldn't put them in Super Bowl contenders after what they've done, and I think I can't really find any. I think I'm going to put them in top tier. We'll see. Maybe that's being too optimistic for them, but like, I don't know. They're playing really good football right now. They really are. Who isn't playing great football is the Las Vegas Raiders, who, I had in a solid tier, but that was 2 games ago. That was after week 1. Since then, I didn't cover the Monday night game because I did it. I do these videos on Monday. The Monday night game was obviously a disaster for them. Where Geno Smith did not play well. Bounce back for Geno Smith, but now the defense looks like kind of what I was worried it was going to be on paper. So, and again, some of the Geno Smith stats were in garbage time as well. Yeah, just disappointing. I guess I will. I do think they lost to 2 pretty good teams, so I'll keep them in mid. But like, yeah, disappointing. The Commanders, who, I kept in feels like playoffs after that Packers loss, and I still think that feels fair. Again, Marcus Mariota had to come in. He's a solid backup, and honestly, I mean, he played really well for the Commanders. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a starting look at some point. I think maybe he doesn't want to just get a starting job just to get a starting job because of how it went in Atlanta. Like, he kind of is like, if I'm going to get a chance to start, maybe he wants at least a chance that it could be a good situation where he has a chance to start. I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets a chance to start somewhere before too long because, yeah, he's played well when he's had to come in. The Kansas City Chiefs, who, listen, that game ended up being a significant win for the Kansas City Chiefs. It did not play that way against the Giants throughout. The Giants were able to kind of keep them, within arm's length. But again, we can't give the Chiefs unrealistic expectations wholly, right? Like, we can't say like they have to win every game wire to wire blowout or like they stink. Like, they are still a football team. They're playing other football teams, playing a kind of a close first half where they still ended up leading at the end of it and then having a great second half. Like, it's okay. I put them in dark horse. I'm going to keep them in dark horse. Their defense is playing very well. Patrick Mahomes is playing very well. Their offense as a whole is not playing very well, and they need to get better at that if they're going to get back up into Super Bowl contenders, but I have no issue keeping them in dark horse for right now. Saints are bad. Yeah, that was bad. Bad job by the Saints. What happened there? Oh my God. Horrible performance for the Saints who were competing. They're 2 weeks. You're like, hey, they're not great, but they're competing. The first part of that sentence was true in week 3. The second part was not. The Giants, who I think I kept them in Scrappy. We'll keep them in Scrappy. Why not? They kept that game somewhat close for a bit. If people are a little bit harsher on the Chiefs after that game, even if the Chiefs ended up winning significantly, we can keep the Giants at Scrappy, even if they're 0-3. They might fall to bad before too long, but for now, we'll keep them at Scrappy. Russell Wilson, stop just throwing up interceptions. If you stop doing that, things could be better. Eagles, obviously, Super Bowl contenders. That's an easy one. Undefeated reigning champs, beat the Rams. Like, And hey, Jalen Hurts, throw the ball to A.J. Brown. What a novel concept there, Eagles. Don't know why you didn't go into that game with that game plan, because the Rams don't really have a number one corner. And, certainly don't have someone who can physically match up with A.J. Brown, and it showed. I don't know how many teams do have a corner who can physically match up with A.J. Brown. I don't know if there is a corner in the league who can do that. But, yeah, Brown's incredible, and once they kind of used that part of their offense, they were really able to fully do some nice things there. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I've kind of been all over the place with, I think I bumped them down 2 tiers after last week because I wasn't too impressed. Still wasn't too impressed, but I also feel like mid doesn't feel right for them. I think solid is where I have them. I think Rodgers continues to play fine football, and I think that the Patriots kind of threw that game away with multiple goal line turnovers. If that doesn't happen, this is a completely different game. But hey, a win is a win. The Steelers seemingly find ways to get wins, so you got to give them credit for that, I suppose. Denver Broncos, again, played the Chargers tough, and I put the Chargers in Super Bowl contenders. Like, the Broncos are 1-2. That doesn't feel right. It feels like they should be better than that. So I've kept them in. I had them in feels like playoffs. I have no reason to get rid of, put them off of that tier. I think this was a totally fine showing. They played competitive against the Chargers, and Herbert just made some great plays at the end. Still a very good Broncos team. The Packers are next on the list, who, through 2 weeks, it felt like obviously they are Super Bowl contenders. They have been incredible. But I do think we've seen some inconsistencies with Jordan Love over his career. And it's like, okay, through 2 weeks, he's looking awesome. And then every time this happens, I feel like people are like, see, Jordan Love's perfect. And it's like, oh, I guess maybe this is happening. And then that loss was not all on him at all. I mean, guys were not getting open. The Browns defense is really good, as I keep saying. Like, that was not all on him, but he made the big mistake. That turnover late just can't happen. And that kind of cost him the game, along with the block field goal. Listen, NFL, weird things happen, but don't put yourself in position to where you're one blocked field goal away from losing to the Browns, basically. All that being said, this defense is still awesome. I still mostly have faith in Jordan Love. Like, I just think, I just need to see more consistency from him. That's all. So for now, if they're going to win a Super Bowl, I'm saying. If they're going to put them in Super Bowl contenders, I want a little more consistency. But yeah, dark horse still feels fair for the Packers for me. Next, we have the Carolina Panthers, and you know what? You win a game 30-0, you get bumped up to Scrappy at the very least here, right? I mean, things were so bad weeks 1 and 2. It looked like I was going to have to create a new tier for them below bad, just to talk about how bad they are. Got a lot better here in week, week 3. A lot better. I mean, they won 30-0. Their defense played a lot better. I thought they were covering down the field well, which is certainly nice to see if you're a Panthers fan. It wasn't just mistakes from the Falcons. It was mistakes. The Falcons had opportunities that they were blowing on top of it. But hey, your defense made plays. You were able to get that done. The offense continued to it finally looked like a real offense again, and they were able to, look more like the team I thought they had a chance of being entering this season of, again, I keep saying this, Bryce Young had 5 yards per attempt. Like, it wasn't like a crazy performance or anything like that, but it did look more competent out there, and I think that's what you're looking for, is competency right now. The Cardinals, who I had in solid, I think I will keep there, I suppose. I mean, I don't know. Like, it just feels like they can't win these games, right? It feels like they get close and they just can't pull this off. Even at the end of that game, it's like they have that play on 3rd and 9 where they nearly get the conversion and just can't quite make the play work. Receiver has the ball and then loses it as he hits the ground. It's like it feels like they can't have the ball bounce their way in those moments, but you assume eventually it will happen. Their defense did play well, albeit against Mac Jones. I still think there is potential for good things to happen for the Cardinals, but barely beating the Saints. Not barely, but that game came down to the wire against the Saints. The game against the Panthers also kind of came down to the wire. This game came down to the wire, but they weren't able to pull off the victory against the team that I think is pretty solid. Again, it's not like they played bad, but I mean, solid tier is kind of what they're for here, right? I want to see more from them. I feel like they can be better than this. And I think that's why I'm frustrated, because I feel like there's a talent here. Just got to see it right now. The Buffalo Bills, winning on Thursday, bit of a slightly underwhelming win. The Dolphins' offense was able to do some things, but divisional matchups Thursday, weird things happen. They got the win. No need to bump them out of Super Bowl contenders. We'll keep them there. The Seahawks, who, listen, we can sit here and say, well, it's the Saints all we want. I mean, the Saints have played 2 football games against the 49ers, who I have in the feels like playoffs tier, against the Cardinals, who I have in the solid tier, and both of those games were competitive. I feel like I got to put them in feels like playoffs. I mean, they dominated that football game. They've been able to beat the Steelers. This is an okay football team. This feels like a playoff team. That's why I have that tier there. Patriots continue to be scrappy. Like, there's stuff here. They're competing. They have young players. They're still trying to figure out how everyone works. Gotta protect the football. I mean, it's just it. There's that. I mean, again, granted, there was a tip pass in the goal line, resulted in turnover. Like, only so much you can do there. The Ramondre Stevenson, I believe it was him, fumble. That one's tougher. They don't make those mistakes. And even receiver catches the ball right at the first down marker, and then instead of just falling backwards over the first down marker, tries to make a move and loses a yard, and they on the 4th down, they don't win the game. Little mistakes like that. That's what they have to clean up. Still want to see a little bit more from Drake May. I do. We'll see. I mean, Scrappy feels fair for them for now. So, that is my week 3 tier rankings, most of week 3 tier rankings. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Oh, and I guess I'll mention while I'm here, I do have a movie channel. If you like movies, like watching movies, you can check that out. I have movie reviews and stuff like that. The link is in the description below. Even some tier lists if you like tier lists. So check that out. But anyway, bye.